14-year-old black child from Chicago was kidnapped, beaten, and brutally murdered in Mississippi by white supremacists back in 1955. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
An accident working on the Santa Monica Freeway eastbound just before the 110. Traffic is backed up to Vermont Avenue. Very heavy on the West 10 coming away from the 5 over to Alameda Street and then up ahead from Normandy Avenue out to Robertson. Slowing on the 5 northbound drive coming away from the 710 to the Glendale Freeway.
Wendy's is open until midnight or later, which means all your favorite menu items are up later too. The Baconator still tastes just as juicy and bacony at night, so listen to that craving and turn in for the night at a Wendy's drive-thru. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Dodgers right fielder Mookie Betts hit his 28th homer of the season. The Dodgers beat Oakland by 4. The Dodgers needed the offense. Right-hander Lance Lynn, making his Dodgers debut, gave up 3 homers. The Dodgers pitching staff has given up 35 runs in the last 6 games. There have been 3 no-hitters in Major League Baseball this season. The third happened last night. Houston left-hander Framber Valdez shut down Cleveland on just 93 pitches. The Rams are worried about wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Kupp walked off the field during Tuesday's practice and did not return. Kupp suffered a hamstring injury while running a pass route. No word yet on how long the Rams' best receiver will be sidelined. The 30-year-old Kupp missed the final 8 games last year with an ankle injury that requires surgery in the offseason. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
I'm Tavis, Smiley, and we are delighted to have you in this hour of our program. In this hour, 2 great conversations on the B side, the back side of this hour, a conversation with Howard University graduate named TeeJ Mercer, who is the creator of a pretty cool program called Move-In Day Mafia. We'll talk about that as we head toward college move-in day. I was just looking at my phone during that break. The daughter of one of our employees here at this station just moved into her dorm, and they were sending around some photos of her first day moving into her dorm room. So it's that time of year, college move-in day season. And again, pretty cool program established by TeeJ Mercer, again, Howard graduate, called Move-In Day Mafia, that specifically descends upon HBCUs. in this season of the year. We'll talk to TeeJ Mercer on the backside of this hour. But we commence this hour in conversation with Dr. Renã Robinson and Dr. Victor McCrary. Who are they? Well, glad you asked. The National Organization for the Professional Advancement of Black Chemists and Chemical Engineers is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, half a century. And the commemoration will take place at a grand conference in the heart of New Orleans. I can't get away from New Orleans today. Our guest in the last hour is a professor at Tulane. And so here we are now talking to some other guests who are on their way next month to New Orleans for this grand conference, September 14th. The New Orleans Convention Center will be run over by a gathering of over 1,000 distinguished black chemists and chemical engineers, all coming together to honor the remarkable contributions of black scientists, chemists, and engineers in the world of technology. Two of those persons participating in that celebration I mentioned a moment ago, Dr. Renã Robinson and Dr. Victor McCrary, both join us now. Dr. Robinson, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Tavis, for inviting us to the show. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you on. Dr. McCrary, how are you, sir?
Sir, I was on the wake-up list today, and so it's a pleasure to be here speaking with you and Dr. Robinson.
It's good to have you on. Yeah, we all are grateful to be on the wake-up list today, so I celebrate that sentiment. Let me start with this, and we just got a few minutes here. I'm going to move through a few things, but it's fascinating to me, having sat in this chair and many other chairs and TV and radio over the course of my career, and had conversations about the dreams and the aspirations of black people and all that we have done to make America the nation that she is. Du Bois once asked that powerful question, would America have been America without her Negro people? That's Du Boisian to the core. Would America have been America without her Negro people? We know that the answer to that question is absolutely not. No way. America is America without our contributions. And years ago, I did an art exhibit that traveled the country called America I Am, the African-American imprint. We had over 300 historic items that we curated for this exhibit that traveled the nation for 4 years, trying to get folk to wrestle with that Du Boisian question. And in the exhibit, we laid out, again, all kinds of artifacts to show the contributions that black folk have made in every field of human endeavor in this country. And we had a complete section in that tour about black chemists and black engineers and the contributions they have made. I did that in part because we so often don't even think about black folk in this particular lane. So I made the joke earlier that we were going to have this conversation in this hour, and I said, yes, they do exist. There are, in fact, black chemists. There are, in fact, black chemical engineers. Dr. Renã Robinson serves as professor of chemistry at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Victor McCrary currently serves as vice president for research and professor of chemistry at the University of the District of Columbia, UDC. I'm glad to have them both on this program. Dr. Robinson, you first, to the point I just made. What say you about the fact that many of us don't even know that there are a decent number of black chemists in high positions all across this country?
We out here is what I'll start by saying. We are small in number, but growing in number, but we have made so many contributions that contribute to why we all exist today, and we're continuing to make those contributions. And so I say that we all have to wake up to the fact that we're everywhere, and we need to make sure that we're empowering the next generation to continue to pursue these fields in STEM, because STEM impacts all of our daily lives, how we eat, how we breathe, how we move, how we navigate. And black people are certainly making our mark and contributions in that area, but we don't want it to end with this current generation. We have to keep that needle going. So, those are my initial thoughts in that regard.
As I mentioned, Dr. Robinson, you're a professor of chemistry at Vanderbilt University. So just be honest with me. Anybody listening but me and you, just two of us talking here. Tell me whether or not you are ever troubled by the number of black faces you see or don't see in your chemistry classes at Vanderbilt.
Absolutely. I think it's always amazing to me that despite our efforts as an institution or across different institutions to try to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, that we still have these moments where I can look into my upper-level classes and only see a few of any of us reflected. But I know institutions are getting better. We're certainly getting better at Vanderbilt. But it is a frustrating thing, and I think that has been one of the frustrations that I've had in my professional career that, in fact, propelled me to become a professor of chemistry.
Dr. McCrary, they used to call D.C. Chocolate City. I see. I've been there recently, and the gentrification is real. Let me just say that. It's real. They used to call it Chocolate City. Let me ask you the same question right quick, and we'll come forward. Whether or not you were ever troubled by the number of black faces you see in your classes at UDC.
Well, at UDC, we are the nation's capital only public HBCU. There's 2 HBCUs. My alma mater, Howard University, which is private, and UDC, which is a public HBCU, and we're there to serve the community. So we do see a large number of faces in chemistry, but I would like to see a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it has to do with making sure we get the message out about the opportunities and careers that blacks can have in chemistry and the STEM-related fields. But I think also, Tavis, it's also important that we understand the history of the number of chemists that have, as you were talking about, black people have been the foundation for this country, and black chemists played an important role, which is why what Dr. Robinson is doing in Novache is extremely important.
Didn't mean to cut you off. When we come forward, I want to come to that history. I'll let you unpack that initially, Dr. McCrary, the history of black folk in this field that we often just tend to overlook. Our guests at this moment are Dr. Victor McCrary out of UDC and Dr. Renã Robinson out of Vanderbilt. Beautiful thing to talk to 2 black chemists in one conversation, and we're doing it right now on Tavis Smiley.
Unapologetically progressive. Unapologetically black. You're tapped into Tavis Smiley.
MC Light, or AARP, hip-hop, the cultural phenomenon that took New York by storm in 1973, is celebrating 50 years of rocking mics and crowds. Whether you're a ride-or-die hip-hop head or simply curious about its origins, check out the latest issue of AARP, the magazine. It celebrates this incredible milestone with a featured story brimming with fun hip-hop facts and history. Head over to aarp.org/black community to learn more.
Community is more than where you live. It's the people in it who go above and beyond to help it thrive. During the 50th anniversary of hip-hop and the 75th anniversary of black radio, AARP recognizes the members, volunteers, people, and partners giving back to our communities. We believe when our efforts drive change for the greater good, we all thrive together. To learn more about how AARP supports efforts to keep our communities thriving, visit aarp.org/black community.
Can you believe it's already back to school season? To get you ready, Chase is hosting a family event at its Crenshaw Community Center branch on Wednesday, August 2nd from 4 to 8 p.m. Chase will be giving away backpacks full of school supplies and other goodies to the first 1,000 attendees. There will be activities for the whole family to enjoy. Chase community managers will host financial health workshops for parents and kids to learn about the importance of budgeting and smart spending when preparing for back to school. Plus, there will also be lawn games and crafts for all ages. Visit chase.com/student banking to learn about Chase's family banking solutions. We hope to see you at Chase's back to school event at its Crenshaw Community Center branch on Wednesday, August 2nd. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC. The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Ready to re-examine your assumptions and expand your inventory of ideas? More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
We are celebrating, along with Dr. Renã Robinson and Dr. Victor McCrary, the 50th anniversary this year of this organization, this national organization for the professional advancement of black chemists and chemical engineers. They'll meet in New Orleans in September on the 14th. Thousands of them will hit the Big Easy to celebrate 50 years of advancing a narrative about the role that black chemists and chemical engineers have played in the history of this country. Speaking of which, Dr. McCrary, why don't you give us some of that history right quick, sir?
Well, some of that history we can talk about blacks in chemistry is every day when I have a cup of coffee, I put a little sugar in my coffee. But did you know there was a black man in your coffee cup? And that's Norbert Rillieux, who back in the 1800s found a way to refine sugar, because in the earlier days they used to take the sugar cane and they had to basically press the juice and then heat it up. It was called the Jamaica train process, and it's actually done by enslaved people, where they encountered a lot of harm and hurt. He came up with a way which is actually used today by places like Domino Sugar and others to make the refined sugar that we use every day in our cup of coffee. So as I said again, when you have your cup of coffee and you put sugar into it, there's a black man in your coffee cup.
I love it. There are all kinds of stories like that we could talk about if we had the time. Dr. Renã Robinson, let me ask you what it has been like for you specifically. You're not just a black chemist, Dr. Robinson. You are a black woman chemist, and that's a whole other situation. I know something of this in my own career, having been at the first African-American to do a number of things in the media, first African-American to have his own show at NPR, first one at PBS. I've done a few firsts in my career, and I know what it's like. There's an old adage that when you break through, what's the line? He or she who breaks through the brush first gets the thorns. And so I know something about being first and being the only oftentimes in some of the rooms that I am in. But what's it like being a black woman in all the classes you had to take? In undergrad, in grad school? I suspect there was more than one time when you looked around and didn't see a lot of black folks, certainly a lot of other black women. What's that journey been like for you, Dr. Robinson?
I think the biggest thing is that oftentimes it has been lonely, and there's this feeling of feeling left out. There's always the fact that you feel like there's a conversation that's happening, but you're not a part of it, and you're missing out on something very key that you need to know. And I think as I've transgressed my career, trying to understand what those conversations are, get in the know, be a part of the know, but then to share that knowledge with other black females, black males, and just people who just aren't in the know, who get left out of these privileged conversations and spaces, has been a part of, what I've tried to do in my career. So it has been extremely frustrating at times, but also having spaces like Nova Shea, who have created this community and family to remind me that while I may be the only in my particular local environment, I'm not the only across the globe, has really helped me to stay fueled and to continue in this journey.
Vanderbilt University is a great institution. It is obviously a PWI, a predominantly white institution, unlike Howard, where Dr. Victor McCrary did his undergrad. Again, Vanderbilt is a predominantly white institution. I am curious, again, keep it real, Dr. Robinson. When the good white students walk into your classroom at Vanderbilt and they see that a black woman is about to teach them about chemistry, what kind of responses do you get sometimes?
I think they've already written me off sometimes. I think they already assume that I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. I don't have the expertise and knowledge to be there, but I think there are students who are more woke and have had these experiences where they're starting to see more diversity in front of the classroom and who's teaching them. And so I think they're open. And over time, I can't convince them all, and I don't bring them all along, but there certainly have been a number of white students and students from other backgrounds who understand that, there's a lot that comes behind getting a PhD. And certainly the fact that I'm in the classroom at an institution like Vanderbilt in chemistry means I'm very credentialed to be there.
No question.
And I already have.
No question. Vanderbilt is high cotton, as we say around here. That's high cotton. Dr. McCrary, talk to me about how black chemists, you mentioned one invention. We could do, we had the time, we could run a long list of them again. I wish I had the time to just underscore and remind people that we've made contributions in every field of human endeavor, including as black chemists. But I wonder, writ large, how black chemists are regarded or not in the profession, Dr. McCrary.
Well, in the profession, we are still sometimes seen as part of the missing millions. okay? And so many times you have folks who are from technical degrees, who are just technicians, all the way up to PhDs, who have made contributions both past, present, and in the future, but we don't occupy the big seats at the top. You know, they're not. You don't see too many black CEOs in the chemical or pharmaceutical professions. You don't see a lot in mid-tier, but that is happening. And I will say that in one area where we are seeing some progress and we've had some help is through the National Science Foundation. One of their goals, working with the National Science Board, is to promote the missing millions. Right now, there's only 4% of blacks in STEM, and that includes the chemical sciences. We're trying to get more students excited from K through 12 all the way up, providing scholarships. And under the leadership of the Science Foundation of Dr. Panchanathan, he has really, really pushed getting people of color, particularly black folks, getting them into these areas, and particularly in chemistry. So hopefully we'll see a lot more. But as Dr. Robinson said, you know, sometimes when you walk in the room, I am actually the vice chair of the National Science Board, which oversees the National Science Foundation and advisor to the president in science. When you walk in the room, sometimes you're the only person that's there. And, of course, you have to answer. You get the same old, as we would say sometime, okie doke. Mm-hmm. It's getting better, but slowly.
Yep. It's clear that we have a significant or a decent number, respectable number of black chemists in classrooms. Dr. Victor McCrary is at UDC, University District of Columbia. In the nation's capital, Dr. Renã Robinson, as I mentioned earlier, is at Vanderbilt. So clearly there are some of y'all in these classrooms teaching other students, black, white, red, brown, yellow, and otherwise. But I'm wondering, Dr. McCrary, whether or not black chemists are still innovating. You were just bragging a moment ago about many of the inventions that black chemists have made. Are black folks still innovating, or are y'all spending your time just teaching?
No, we're not just spending our time as teaching, and particularly for HBCUs. If you think about HBCUs, we are kind of also an asset, a national security asset, in the sense that we have a large number of our chemical folks who are making on new ideas in the areas of materials, quantum information, particularly nanomaterials. So, for example, both at UDC and some of our sister institutions like North Carolina A&T, a lot of people are doing a lot of work at advanced materials, which involves both chemistry and physics. I can call out a number of names, but these people are working in new areas as well as in pharmaceutical areas. And so even when you think about the pandemic that just passed, there were large numbers of black folks who were involved in chemistry and biochemistry of coming up with understanding COVID-19 and then producing the vaccine.
Yep. How concerned are you, Dr. Robinson? We'll come back to Dr. McCrary on this same question in a moment. How concerned are you about those few black faces I mentioned earlier that you see in your classes at Vanderbilt? Put another way, how troubled are you by the relatively paltry number of black folk in the STEM field?
I'm troubled more so because I think the journey to changing that situation is long and it's slow. However, I'm very hopeful that organizations such as NOBSHE and our other professional societies that are built to support students of color and ensure we're reaching students of color, we will help to do our job with trying to solve this problem.
Dr. McCrary, same question.
Yes, I'm thinking that these things are actually getting better over time, and I think this is where our HBCUs, as well as our other minority institutions, are working well. And as Dr. Robinson said, the minority technical organizations like NOBSHE, NSBE, SHIP, SOCNIS, getting folks in, because when kids are not stupid, when they see people who look like them, then they're saying, I want to get into that field. So that also means we have to have a continuous amount of teachers that are coming out there. Because if kids don't see anybody who looks like me out there, they figure the game is rigged, and why should I go in this profession? And that's why organizations, again, like NOBSHE are important.
Dr. McCrary, you're right. The kids are not stupid, but the other truth is that for these kids, especially these days, image is everything. I mean, image is everything. And I don't mean to I'm not trying to make a comment about you or Dr. Robinson, but because image is everything, these kids, sometimes the kids who study chemistry, who study science, technology, engineering, and math are regarded as nerds. Nobody wants to be a nerd. So I'm wondering whether or not we can ever increase these numbers so long as when we think about chemists, we think about Urkel.
Yeah, but when you think about
have you been
Urkel,
on
Tavis,
Twitter?
you can also think about the salaries that they can go with it. And most of the kids that work, that come in my university, and I'm sure Dr. Robinson, their last name is not Rockefeller. So they're coming to school because they want to learn some skills and they want to get out. And whether they're plumbers or PhDs or electricians or electrical engineers or chemical technicians or PhD chemists, the jobs out here in STEM are paying good money. And you're talking about starting anywhere in the high 80s to six figures in any of these things. And so, hey, I'm a nerd who can pay my bills. I'll take it.
Urkel may be a nerd, but Urkel's getting paid. I ain't mad at him. Dr. Robinson, I heard you trying to say something which didn't surprise me. You can't call a black woman a nerd and think she ain't going to speak up. What were you trying to say, Dr. Robinson?
Hey, I'm saying you got to check us out on Twitter and all the social media platforms. What scientists look like today doesn't look like Urkel by any means. I'm talking about my colleagues in my own department showing up teaching the organic chemistry classes, black male with Jordans on. We're talking about sisters that show up in their authentic selves to the classroom. And so we look like we look as black people, and that's how we show up to our jobs and our professions. So I think younger generation is very inspired by seeing that, oh, I can be myself. And still be smart, be a chemist, be a nerd, and get paid.
No, I love that. I love that. So what's it like when over 1,000 of y'all, black chemists, get together, Dr. McCrary, in one room, as you will in New Orleans next month, September 14th?
Oh, man, the energy is just incredible. I mean, this is the 50th year. I owe a lot to Novachet because my professor, who was one of the founders, took me to Novachet, over 40 years ago. And so to get there, and I always tell people, there's other societies that maybe, also concentrate on my professional identity, but also Novachet concentrates on my psychological identity and well-being. And to share the same stories with people like Dr. Robinson, Dr. Warner, all of our other colleagues, and some of the legends that we have there, it is so incredible. Plus also the opportunity to see the next generation that we can tell those stories, give back, and teach them the navigational capacity that they need so that they can go out here and make a difference.
Yeah. Dr. Robinson, what are you looking forward to when you all get together next month?
I'm looking forward to seeing the over 1,000 students who are coming across the nation to celebrate with us, to share their science, to grow and to learn. I love seeing the students. I love talking with them, giving hugs, hearing how they're progressing in their journeys. And I'm just looking to the time that we're going to have as we celebrate formally and informally, unofficially, concluding with our gala on Thursday night. So this is going to be a jam-packed, high-energy, fun, and inspiring transformational week for everyone that comes and attends. And you have an open invitation to come and celebrate with us.
I appreciate you. I got just a few seconds here, Dr. Robinson, getting tight on time here. I can only imagine that you must have enjoyed, on a number of different levels, that movie Hidden Figures. Dr. Robinson?
Yes.
Yeah.
High fives all throughout the movie. Definitely transformational in my spirit, but also affirming that at some point we all get our flowers, and even if they come late and after the fact, we still must continue on in our journey and do the excellent work that we're doing in our STEM field. So definitely affirming for me.
It's that season of the year. There'll be all kinds of black conventions this summer, black lawyers and black doctors and black journalists. As a matter of fact, half of my team here is on the way to Birmingham for the NABJ convention. All kinds of black conventions over the summer, but one of them is celebrating its 50th anniversary. They call it Novachet. That stands for, there's a long name here. It stands for the National Organization for the Professional Advancement of Black Chemists and Chemical Engineers. Again, Novachet is much easier to say, but they are celebrating their 50th anniversary. We are glad about it, and we celebrate all that these black chemists and black chemical engineers have done to make America the nation that she is and will be. We thank for now Dr. Renã Robinson and Dr. Victor McCrary for coming on this program. The best to both of you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thank
Tavis.
you so much for having us.
It's great to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
MC Light for AARP. Hip hop, the cultural phenomenon that took New York by storm in 1973, is celebrating 50 years of rocking mics and crowds. Whether you're a ride or die hip hop head or simply curious about its origins, check out the latest issue of AARP the magazine. It celebrates this incredible milestone with a featured story brimming with fun hip-hop facts and history. Head over to aarp.org/Black Community to learn more.
Community is more than where you live. It's the people in it who go above and beyond to help it thrive. During the 50th anniversary of hip-hop and the 75th anniversary of Black radio, AARP recognizes the members, volunteers, people, and partners giving back to our communities. We believe when our efforts drive change for the greater good, we all thrive together. To learn more about how AARP supports efforts to keep our communities thriving, visit aarp.org/Black Community.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Donald Trump is due to be arraigned tomorrow in Washington on 4 counts related to his alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. In announcing the indictment yesterday, Special Counsel Jack Smith said his office will push for a speedy trial and that he and his team are ready to have all of the evidence tested in a court of law. A new national monument in Chicago, Illinois, honoring Emmett Till and his mother, Mamie Till Mobley, is official. A placard was unveiled yesterday to recognize Robert's Temple Church of God in Christ in Bronzeville as a national monument. The 14-year-old black child from Chicago was kidnapped, beaten, and brutally murdered in Mississippi by white supremacists back in 1955. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
An accident working on the Santa Monica Freeway eastbound just before the 110. Traffic is backed up to Vermont Avenue. Very heavy on the West 10 coming away from the 5 over to Alameda Street and then up ahead from Normandy Avenue out to Robertson. Slowing on the 5 northbound drive coming away from the 710 to the Glendale Freeway.
Wendy's is open until midnight or later, which means all your favorite menu items are up later too. The Baconator still tastes just as juicy and bacony at night. So listen to that craving and turn in for the night at a Wendy's drive-thru. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Dodgers right fielder Mookie Betts hit his 28th homer of the season. The Dodgers beat Oakland by 4. The Dodgers needed their offense. Right-hander Lance Lynn, making his Dodgers debut, gave up 3 homers. The Dodgers pitching staff has given up 35 runs in the last 6 games. There have been 3 no-hitters in Major League Baseball this season. The third happened last night. Houston left-hander Framber Valdez shut down Cleveland on just 93 pitches. The Rams are worried about wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Kupp walked off the field during Tuesday's practice and did not return. Kupp suffered a hamstring injury while running a pass route. No word yet on how long the Rams' best receiver will be sidelined. The 30-year-old Kupp missed the final 8 games last year with an ankle injury that requires surgery in the offseason. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
On a Mission Youth Travel presents the 2023 Morehouse Homecoming HBCU College Tour, October 25th through October 29th in Atlanta, Georgia. Open to high school students grades 9 through 12. For more information, please call 323-298-4779. Again, 323-298-4779. Students will tour Morehouse College, Spelman College, Clark Atlanta University, Alabama State, and Tuskegee University. Email info@onamissionyouthtravel.com. Again, info@onamissionyouthtravel.com. The HBCU tour price includes all meals, transportation, round-trip airfare with 1 checked bag, hotel accommodations, all museums, college tours, and admission to the Morehouse versus Kentucky State University homecoming football game. Spaces are filling up quickly, so call today to sign up. 323-298-4779. Again, 323-298-4779.
Extreme heat increases your risk of heat illness and death. Warning signs of heat exhaustion include muscle cramps, headache, and nausea. Signs of heat stroke include a fever of 103 or higher, confusion, and loss of consciousness. Protect yourself by limiting time spent outdoors, staying hydrated, and staying cool in air-conditioned spaces. Learn how to stay safer from extreme heat at heatreadyca.com. Brought to you by the state of California.
Who do you trust to get at the truth? Tavis, Smiley. That's who. The conversation continues right now.
It does indeed, and I'm excited about this conversation because this is one of those things that I love to celebrate. One of those occasions and creations that I love to celebrate. So let me tell you who we're about to talk to. Her name is TeeJ Mercer, and I'll tell you why we're talking to her, because it's now August, of course, which means that college move-in day season is I was going to say fast approaching. It's already here. I said moments ago. I was looking at some pictures earlier. Looking at some photos earlier of a daughter of one of our colleagues here who just moved into her dorm. So we're in that season right now. It ain't fast approaching. It's already here. And attending college, as we all know, can be quite expensive. And for freshmen specifically, listen to me now, for freshmen specifically who have aged out of foster care, getting from the first year to graduation seems for many, like an impossible goal. I didn't age out of foster care. I wasn't in foster care, and it seemed like an impossible goal to me at times. Imagine going through the foster care system, but being resilient enough to get yourself into college, and now you got to navigate your way through the 4-year cycle. To help facilitate this often difficult transition and matriculation into college and through it is an organization called Move-In Day Mafia. Hollywood veteran and Howard University graduate. Oh Lord, not another bison. I was just saying a few minutes ago. I can't get away from New Orleans today. We had a guest in 1 hour today who's a professor at Tulane, and then we were talking about the big convention of all the black chemists going to New Orleans. I couldn't get away from New Orleans, and I can't get away from Howard University. One of the guests, one of the black chemists you just heard on our program, was also a Howard graduate. So I can't get away from the city of New Orleans or the campus of Howard University. TeeJ Mercer is a Howard University grad and founded Move-In Day Mafia, which comprises of a mob of volunteers who descend upon HBCUs to provide dorm room makeovers and ongoing assistance primarily for freshmen who've opted out of the foster care system, are homeless, or need financial support. Now, if you can't celebrate that, you can't celebrate nothing. TeeJ Mercer, I'm glad to have you on this program. How are you today?
I am cracking up laughing because I was thinking the same thing as I was listening to your previous guest, and I'm holding back my HU, and I'm trying to be professional. And then you're going to come through in the introduction, and I was like, okay, so he's just going to bring it out of me. HU,
there you go. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Smiley, for having me. Thank you for having me on. I promise I'm gonna be on my best behavior.
You just be you just be yourself. I'll be me and you be you, and we're gonna be all right. I ain't mad at you. Nothing wrong.
Deal.
Nothing wrong with having pride in your institution. Of course, that old adage is true. You can tell a bison, you just can't tell a bison much. So I understand that. I understand that. Let me start by congratulating you for this brilliant idea. And I mean this sincerely, every fiber of my being. I want to congratulate you for this brilliant idea, for this brilliant creation, and just having the heart to care about these students who are, again, going to have a challenge, just trying to navigate their way through. So let me just ask you right quick, where did the idea come from? How did you get this thing off the ground, this notion of Move-In Day Mafia?
Well, you kind of nailed it. Okay, so let me back up. So I'm from, LA, 25 years working in Hollywood there. I had just moved to Atlanta a week before the lockdown. And because I was lonely, I created a virtual bingo game. That took off unexpectedly. I then saw that the graduations had been snatched. And being from Howard, I know our graduations are lit. HBCU in general graduations are just on fire. And so my heart was broken because these students were going to be losing that pinnacle moment that they've worked so hard for. So I asked God to show me, what I can do with what was in my hands. And we ended up doing TeeJ's HBCU bingo, where over 500 grads played bingo with us. We raised over $1 million in cash and prizes. And we played bingo every night of June of 2020. And in the course of that got picked up by national media. And I learned that one of my scholars, one of my grads from that group, she told us for the interview that when she had aged out of foster care, she'd worked hard, gotten into her HBCU, and her social worker drove her to school, pulled up to the curb, let her unload what little she had, and then just left her. And you said it in the introduction. Can you imagine? Like, I remember moving into Howard. That was not my experience, but I'm also 17, 18 years old trying to figure out life, and this baby is gone to college, and she just left alone for this transition. So that rocked me. I'm just going to be very honest with you. That rocked me because I'd never in all of my life at that point considered that demographic, the demographic that's aging out of foster care, or even at 18, they're immediately homeless, but then they still have the resilience to go to college. And so once again, I asked God, please show me what I can do so that no student experienced this. And Move-In Day Mafia was the result of that answered prayer.
Lord Jesus. It's a powerful story, and I love it. So tell me how Move-In Day Mafia actually works.
So we sent out, first of all, let me just say, we are only in our second year. So our 1 year anniversary is August 10th. So we're figuring out this and building this thing as we fly the plane. And so our process right now is we put a call out for application, and we work directly with Prairie View, Paul Quinn College in Dallas, and Fisk University in Nashville. Those are our three schools for this year. And worked with the housing department, worked with the finance financial aid department. They then sent out a blast to the scholars who would be able to qualify. Those scholars then applied on our website. We interviewed them and made our selections based on how many we could really help. We are going to be walking with 39 scholars for the 2023-2024 school year. We don't have them all yet, but we have like 30 we're going to be moving in starting this weekend. And we have a designer, Nikki Klug of Nikki Klug Design Group, has designed all the rooms. So it's not like we just coming in throwing stuff, up in their room just so that they could have it. No, this demographic is vulnerable. They deserve the best that we can give. So we're giving them a TV, a refrigerator, a microwave in, the schools that are allowed it. Nikki has designed all of these wonderful rooms. We've had extensive interviews of asking what their preference is. We've asked everything from their favorite color to what's your favorite deodorant. And so for us, it really is. And can I just be really honest, Mr. Smiley? I am so on fire because I literally, right before this interview, just notified another scholar who's attending Prairie View that we're going to take him in. And do you not know the reason why because he's actually a graduating senior, but the reason why he applied for Move-In Day Mafia is because this baby has never had that experience. He's come out of foster care. He's still couch surfing right now, and he's never had that move-in day where people are doting on him, asking him what he wants his room to be about. And that literally just happened before I logged in with you.
Let me share with the audience what you already know, and we'll come forward here very quickly. It's estimated that while 70% of kids, 70% of kids in foster care dream of college, only 3% realize their dreams to go, and only 1% graduate. A number of issues affect their success, of course, such as housing insecurity and minimal family contribution, creating a huge financial burden for them. But here comes TeeJ Mercer and the Move-In Day Mafia, who you're listening to and about right now on Tavis Smiley.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Dominique DePrima here. Having a good credit score is one critical step to obtain a loan to buy a home. But did you know that your credit score is just one factor in getting a mortgage loan? Think about this. Lenders also consider your income, your employment history, current monthly debts, the size of the loan, and the amount of your down payment. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives support you in reaching them. Access your personal financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Need help with the job hunt? It can be challenging, but don't worry. LA County has your back. With a variety of available support services, you'll get the help you need while finding a job. We're here to help you succeed. Let's get started. Find out if you qualify at recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. LA County and you moving forward together.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event. Or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Smart talk for curious people just like you. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm sure TeeJ Mercer will be happy to know that we're getting a bunch of queries on our socials about how folk can donate. Trust and believe. I'm going to let TeeJ tell you exactly how you can donate. And let me just say, I'm going to make a contribution myself today. So TeeJ is going to tell me and you how we can donate to the effort of Move-In Day Mafia. And I hope that you will join me in making some contribution for these babies as they attempt to get into school and through school. I mentioned those numbers a moment ago, TeeJ Mercer. 70% of kids in foster care dream of going to college. 3% realize their dreams. Only 1% graduate. Those numbers are arresting and heartbreaking, TeeJ Mercer.
Yes, I myself was really, well, first of all, Mr. Smiley, you can't just come back and then not expect me to just scream, thank you for the donation.
I got you.
So let me just, I want to just be very, very transparent. This costs us a lot of money because we're not just giving these kids leftovers. Everything is brand new. It costs us about $1,700 for us to move in a scholar and the first few months of care packages, because the mission is to walk with them all 4 years. So to get them to graduation, so that dismal number that you gave, the 1% graduate, we want to get that increased exponentially. So the more, money that we can give, the more money we can take in more scholars. And to your point earlier about the guest before, I think you asked him about, you asked both of them about seeing the presence of STEM students in their classroom. Well, can you imagine how many foster care kids are really good at science, but they don't have the support they need to pursue their dream of STEM? That's the gap that Move-In Day Mafia is designed to actually fill, so that we're not having these same conversations 5 years from now because we've built a pipeline into these schools.
Yeah.
And so I personally just thank everybody. You can donate at movindaymafia.org. And it goes directly to the students because right now we're powered by all volunteers. Everybody on the crew is volunteering. And so we're giving them everything they need to get launched plus the monthly care packages. So, but to your question, that's what rocked me when I started, doing my homework of this demographic that I wasn't aware of. And they either go to prison or, what I learned, Mr. Smiley, is that even the young ladies, they end up intentionally getting pregnant, not because they're reckless or irresponsible. It's strategic because the minute they get pregnant and have a child, it triggers social services. So now they can have a roof over their head. Can you imagine? Like that is really what's happening. And so I want to also partner with organizations that are strategic with getting that population into the HBCUs. And then I want to pick up the ball to make sure those kids make it all the way to graduation.
I don't mean to proselytize here. I'm not a proselytizer. I'm a believer, but I'm not a proselytizer. But you heard TeeJ Mercer say not once but twice in this conversation that she prayed and asked God for direction. And all I want to say is this is what can happen when you let the Lord use you. When you let the Lord use you, anything can happen. I digress. Our remaining moments with TeeJ Mercer when we come forward talking about Moving Day Mafia on Tavis Smiley.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
MC Light, or AARP, hip-hop, the cultural phenomenon that took New York by storm in 1973, is celebrating 50 years of rocking mics and crowds. Whether you're a ride-or-die hip-hop head or simply curious about its origins, check out the latest issue of AARP, the magazine. It celebrates this incredible milestone with a featured story brimming with fun hip-hop facts and history. Head over to aarp.org/black community to learn more.
Community is more than where you live. It's the people in it who go above and beyond to help it thrive. During the 50th anniversary of hip-hop and the 75th anniversary of Black radio, AARP recognizes the members, volunteers, people, and partners giving back to our communities. We believe when our efforts drive change for the greater good, we all thrive together. To learn more about how AARP supports efforts to keep our communities thriving, visit aarp.org/black community.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
Let's get back to more of Tavis Smiley right now.
TeeJ Mercer, remind me and the audience once again how folk can join me in donating. I'm going to donate some pennies to help you out today. Remind us how we can make that contribution.
Absolutely. So the website is moveindayMafia.org, but we also have a Cash App. Our Cash App is under our nonprofit name, which is Project Dreamlight. That's DREAM, like Project Dreamlight. That's the Cash App. But you also, Mr. Smiley, can actually get your Kappas together and form a team and get all of them together.
Oh, no, she didn't. Oh, no, she didn't.
Get your Kappas together and have them sponsor a whole team and help me get these scholars taken care of.
See, this is...
I'm one stop from getting up. Look, my whole team is wondering, okay, she one stop from going to getting on the pole. So let's make sure we get these donations in so she don't go have to get on the pole for these scholars. Because she will do anything for these babies.
This is the risk you take talking to a bison. This is the problem right here. That you invite them on your show to help them out, and you get called out, and your whole fraternity of Kappa men get called out to step their game up. This is the problem talking to Howard University graduates, but I ain't mad at her. I love the energy and I love the challenge. So let me shout out a few Kappas today and see if we can get some more money for you than beyond the check, the contribution that I'm going to make. It occurs to me, I just got about 3 minutes left here, right quick. It occurs to me that for most of these babies, as you call them, and they are, this is the first time. This is the first time in their lives that they will have a voice and a choice in choosing what goes into their personal space, is it not?
It is absolutely the case. And what we've had to understand about this demographic, we have had it told to us more times than once, y'all are too good to be true. One baby who, this is the first time she has been couch surfing, she's been in foster care her whole life, been couch surfing her whole life, got dropped off at Prairie Quinn, I'm bringing them together, at Prairie View, and she stopped one step short of asking me my flight number. She just kept going, so y'all all just gonna come here just for us? And so, yes, this is the first time they will have their own space with them in mind. They're not getting a hand-me-down or just got to make do. They get their own.
Yeah. It's moveinday.org for all the detail that TeeJ Mercer just laid out.
MoveindayMafia.org.
I'm sorry, I screwed that up. MoveindayMafia. Missed that last word. Forgive me. MoveindayMafia.org is the site you can go to and learn more about what they're doing and again find a number of ways, as TeeJ mentioned earlier, to make your contribution if you are so inclined and if you can. But if you can't, at least you are aware of what they're doing and that somebody is looking out for these precious babies who are aging out of the foster care system and have been resilient enough to find their way into an HBCU, and now we want to see them matriculate. We want to see them graduate. And so I'm just honored to have had this conversation. So, TeeJ, I don't normally let folk get away with this. You jumped in so fast, I didn't want to stop you. But the next time you and I talk, you got to call me Tavis. If I call you TeeJ, you got to call me Tavis. No more Mr. Smiley. How about that?
Done.
All right.
Done. Consider it done. And they can volunteer too, Mr. Tavis. They can volunteer as well. If they can't donate, they can volunteer to move the kids in.
There you go. We can all do something. As we say around here, it's not about equal giving. It's about equal sacrifice. We can all make a sacrifice in some way, shape, or form. If not volunteering, then making a contribution. But it's, again, moveindayMafia.org. where all the information can be found. I meant what I said earlier, TeeJ, about what can happen when you let the Lord use you. So thank you for praying, and more importantly, thank you for listening to the answer that came back. I celebrate you and all the work you're doing. Such an honor to have you on this program. All the best to you.
Thank you. Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. My pleasure. Just like that, 3 hours, poof, gone. Back here tomorrow morning, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until then, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley. And as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.